Yes, sir.
Okay. This is what the concept of node eviction. So now we are moving to another concept which is pending. Okay, I showed these two things: practical session of node eviction, practical session troubleshooting the cluster by using cluster log. Okay, cache fusion I explained, split brain syndrome also I explained. The next one is so importance of OLR, OCR, and voting disk. Okay, so the purpose of voting disk is to maintain node membership. Okay, the purpose of voting disk is to maintain node membership. Okay, that is one of the reason. That is the first reason. It avoids the split brain syndrome issue. Okay, these are the two reasons we are using voting disk. Okay, how many nodes in the cluster will be maintained in the voting disk file? Okay, where the voting disk file is located in the server? Okay, we have to connect to the ASM. And see it is taking lot of time. So recreation, this is our cluster name. Okay, this is our OCR file. This is our OCR file. Here our voting disk file is located. OCR and voting disk file both are created like as a single file. That file name we can call it as registry dot something. Okay, registry dot something is nothing but this particular ID will be different. Okay, in your cluster and my cluster in real time. Okay, if you build a new cluster, it will create different IDs. Okay, it will be managed by Oracle. Okay, its concept is called OMF. So your voting disk file and OCR file is located under this location, disk group. Under disk group, it is a cluster name. What is your cluster name? Under that, so we can see OCR file. So under here, we have voting disk file as well as OCR file is located. So we use as per Oracle recommendation, we use odd number of voting disks. Odd number of voting disks means 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, so on. These are all odd number of voting disks. So we can't use 2, 4, 6. So okay, it's a Oracle recommendation. We should use odd number of voting disks. Okay, it won't allow. While installing cluster, it will ask us like external, normal, high. Okay, external is nothing but 3, normal is external is nothing but 1, normal is nothing but 3, high is nothing but 5. Okay, while installing cluster, we have to specify. Okay, so external redundancy 1 disk. Okay, if you create 3 disks, you have to specify normal redundancy. If you create 5 disks, so you have to specify high redundancy. This is based on voting disk. Okay, voting disks will be created based on the redundancy. Okay, so we created only 1 disk. Okay, with external redundancy, that's why we have only 1 file is here. Suppose if you create a normal redundancy disk group, it creates 3 voting files. Okay, so 2 will be more mirrors, 1 will be original. Okay, like that it will be created. 3 copies will be created. So as we aware, like ASM, we have redundancy concept. The same way we have voting disk as a redundancy. Okay, we created with external. That's why we can see only 1 file. OCR file. OCR file, the full form is Oracle Cluster Registry. Okay, whenever you execute CRSCTL status resource -t command. The CRSCTL status resource -t. It reads the information from OCR file. It reads the information from OCR file. Without OCR file, we cannot get the result of this. Okay, what is inside OCR? Okay, inside OCR, whatever the things we created with SRVCTL, those things will be kept under OCR file. Whenever the cluster starts, it reads the OCR file, whatever the services are registered in OCR, those services will be automatically started after the cluster starts. Okay, in core, we don't have an auto start option. Okay, auto start database option in core. We have to go and we have to set up the environmental variable. We have to start the DB. Coming to the RAC, whenever you start the cluster, automatically the database will be started. Okay, whatever the instances we have, those instances will be automatically started. How those will be started? Based on the OCR file. Okay, in OCR file, if you add the instance, if you create the service by using srvctl add database -d, so that will be kept under OCR file. Okay, whenever you start up the cluster, automatically whatever the services are included in OCR file, those services will be automatically started. Clear? Any questions in this point? OCR file?
No, sir.
Okay. So there is something is called OLR. OLR, Oracle Local Registry. Oracle Local Registry. OCR stores the information about all the nodes like central. Okay, it's a central repository. It's like a central repository. Okay, OLR stores the information of local node. Okay, the same node it kept. Okay, this is called local repository. Okay, there are some services we need to start locally before starting common services which is related to all the nodes. Okay, so whatever the services are locally we have, those services related information is stored in the Oracle local registry, that is called OLR. Initially, when you start the cluster, it reads the OLR, it will start the local services, then it will start the common services. Okay, it will read OLR, it will start the local services. Then after that, it will read OCR, it will start the common services related to the all the nodes. So there are some demos. Okay, so whenever you run CRS check CRS. Okay, there are four things we have. Okay, what are the important things we have? Those I am mentioning here. So if you want to start Oracle high availability service, so OLR is mandatory. Okay, it will access the OLR. Okay, it will access the OLR. So this is cluster ready services. Okay, this is, we can call it as OHAST. OHASD depends on the OLR. CRST, okay, CRST, cluster ready services daemon, okay, it is depending on OCR file, okay, cluster synchronization services, CSST, it is depending on voting file. Okay, so while starting up this particular daemon, it will search for the voting file. If the voting file is available, it will come to the online. Okay, if the voting file is not available, if the voting file is not accessible by this node, it cannot reach. Where the voting file is stored under the disk group. Okay, if any one of the ASM disk is missing, your voting file won't come up. If voting file is not coming up, your CSSD daemon will not come up. Okay, it will not show online. OCR file. If the OCR file is missing, if the OCR file is not accessible by any one of the node, the CRSD daemon will not come up. If CRSD daemon not comes up, okay, your services registered with SRV CTL will not come up. If the services not come up, then automatically your database will not come up. Okay, all these are dependents. Okay, EVMD is not that much important. Okay, these three are very, very important. Okay, EVMD is related to, it intimates to other nodes when failover occurs. Okay, if suppose if one of the node is evicted, okay, what are the connections here? Those will be automatically failover to the other available instance. Okay, that concept will be taken care by event manager. Okay, let's go to practical. So how to check the voting file, CRS CTL query, CSS vote disk. Okay, this is the way where the voting file is located. Voting file is located in this particular ASM disk, this particular ASM disk group. Okay, this is the ID of the voting file. It is showing online. Okay, if you want to check OCR file, we can check by using OCR check command. Okay, how to check the OCR integrity? Okay, people are using this command to check the OCR integrity. Okay, we can check, we can run this command anywhere. Okay, not only here, we can run from here also. Okay, it is taking a lot of time. Let's wait. I think system is taking more resources. Okay, let me stop one of the node. This is what we are seeing from last few days. Okay, so I can show the things from the first server. Let me stop the second node forcefully. Okay, OCR check. Okay, it is showing where is your OCR file is located. Your OCR file is located here. So cluster registry integrity check succeeded. Okay, if it is failed means your OCR file is corrupted. Okay, so how to check cluster integrity? How to check OCR integrity? Everything we can check by using this. This node itself not coming up. Let's wait for a few minutes, okay? Okay, so server is restarted. I think we are good now. This is node 2. Let's connect to node 1. Okay, so OCR check is for checking cluster integrity. Okay, checking cluster integrity by using below command OCR check. Okay, so how to check? Let me open this. You can clearly see. Yeah. How to check whether this node is a cluster node or standalone ASM node. Okay. So you can clearly see here local underscore only is equal to false. Okay. If it is local underscore only is equal to true means it's a ASM. Local underscore only is equal to false means it's a RAC. Okay. Local underscore only is equal to true means it's a standalone ASM. Okay. If it is showing local underscore only is equal to false means it's a cluster node. Okay. This particular cluster has more than one node. Okay. That is what it is specifying. If it is only one node means it is showing local underscore only is equal to true. If it is more than one node, it definitely shows local underscore only is equal to false. Okay. And also if you want to see where is our OCR file is located, what is the name of the OCR, we can check in this file cat etc oracle ocr.loc. It will show the location of where is our OCR file is located. Okay. This is the location of OCR file. Okay. OCR config hyphen show back. So OCR backup will be taken by cluster automatically every 4 hours. Okay. OCR backup will be taken by cluster automatically every 4 hours. Okay. Who takes the backup? Okay. So master node will take the backup. How to identify the master node? Okay. Here we have master node and child node. Okay. Whoever comes first, that will become master node. Suppose if you start the RAC 2 first and RAC 1 second, then the RAC 2 will become the master, RAC 1 will become the child. If you start RAC 1 first and then RAC 2 second, okay, RAC 1 will become master node and RAC 2 will become child node. We are not sure. Someone started 6 months back, recently joined in the company. Okay, recently joined in the company. Okay, how to check whether this node is a master node or child node? We can check by using a log file is called CSST log file. Okay, so we can check by using a log file is called CSST log file. We'll see where is our CSST log file is located. User one app oracle underscore base diag crs rack1 crs trace. Okay, here we can see multiple log files cssds. Okay, this is cssd.erc. This is the cssd.log file. Here grep -i master this one. So let me check the command. Identify master node in Oracle RAC. There are many ways. Okay, so we'll see. Grab master tail -1. Okay, grab -i master tail -1. Okay, so here member count to incarnation 1, master is 0. Master is 0 is nothing but first node, it is treating it as a 0. Second node, it is treating it as a 1. Okay, 0, 1. Okay, 0 is nothing but RAC 1. 1 is nothing but RAC 2. Okay, if it is showing like master 1, means second node will be the master. Okay, first node will be the child. Total count is 2 because, so why it is showing master 0? It is showing first node because we already stopped the second node. Okay, so this is the way we can identify the master node. Okay, so who takes, okay, whoever is comes first, that will become master node, right? So who takes the backup? Okay, this question we are coming back. Okay, master node always takes the backup of OCR file automatically every 4 hours. These are all entry questions. Okay, don't take it, okay, very small. Okay, these are interview questions, people will focus. Okay, what is the background process? What is the daemon will take care of taking the backups? Okay, CSSD daemon will take the backup of OCR file. Okay, so we have to note down. Now we are moving to actual architecture of grid. Okay, actual architecture of grid infrastructure. There is some blog. Okay, so Oracle in action. Okay, he explained very clearly. Okay, so it is clearly explaining how the cluster startup sequence will be. Okay, these are all the terminologies you have to by heart. Okay, there is no other way. Okay, when a node of the Oracle cluster starts, OHASD started by the platform specific means. Platform specific means there is a process is called init process will start the OHASD daemon. Okay, OHASD is the root for bringing up all Oracle clusters where OHASD is the main daemon. He is the main boss of the cluster. Okay, without starting OHASD, we cannot start anything in the cluster. Okay, the first one which will be started here is OHASD. OHASD will access the OLR. I already told you. OHASD will access the OLR, Oracle Local Registry. It is stored on the local file system. Okay, local file system. Okay, OLR provides needed data to complete OHASD initially. I already told you. OLR contains the local services information. So based on the local services information, OHASD will start the few of the demons. Okay, the demons are like OHASD brings up a demon is called GPNPD. It's very, very important. Grid plug and play. Okay, there is a concept is called grid plug and play. Okay, so GPNPD. GPNPD is nothing but grid plug and play. So GPNPD, OHSD brings up GPNPD and CSSD daemon. CSSD daemon has to access the GPNP profile which is stored in the local file system. This profile contains the following vital bootstrap data. Means, so this GPNP profile contains the information of ASM disk group string. Means, where is our ASM disks are located? Okay, our ASM disks are located. Let me try to show here. Our ASM disks are located this here. This is the location of ASM. This is called ASM disk string. ASM discovery string. Okay, this GPNP profile contains ASM discovery string and it contains the ASM SP file where the ASM SP file is located. Okay, then name of the ASM disk group contains the voting files. Okay, these are the three things we have in GPNPD profile. Okay, So CSSD will access all these things. Okay. Voting file locations on the ASM disks are accessed by CSSD and ASM disk headers, and CSSD able to complete the initialization and start or join an existing cluster. Okay, this is what the theory. Okay, so people will ask you, definitely you have to read multiple times, at least 15 to 20 times, to understand this actual theory part. Okay, so you should aware all these things, all these steps you have to by heart. Okay, till this one. Okay, till step number 6 you have to by heart. Okay, in the interviews people will ask you to explain the cluster architecture. Okay, so the thing is, let me explain clearly. Our database service information available in a file is called OCR file. Okay, I am explaining backward. Okay, so OCR file available in ASM disk group. Okay, ASM disk group depending on ASM instance. Okay, without starting ASM instance we cannot bring up the ASM disk group. ASM instance depending on ASM SP file. Okay, ASM SP file located in, again, ASM disk group. Okay, there is a relation between this step and this step. Again, okay, if you want to access the OCR file, we have to do all these steps. Okay, if you want to access the SP file of ASM, again we need ASM disk group. Okay, this is the main problem we have in the architecture. How the architecture is avoiding to access the disk group is the main concept. Okay, what cluster is doing? Cluster side, there is a profile is called GPNP profile. Okay, so GPNP profile has the details of ASM disk string, comma ASM SP file and voting file. These three information we have. Let me try to show where is our GPNP profile. Location of GPNP profile in 19C. Grid home GPNP hostname profile peers. Okay, grid home cd dollar Oracle home. There is a directory is called GPNPD. So then profiles, then peer. Here there is a file is called profile.xml. It's like a P file. Okay, so it contains information of where is our disk are located. Okay, so you can clearly see ORCL colon star while installing grid. Okay, so it picked the information of ASM disk string. Okay, in this location ASM disks are located. It is what's telling. And also, what is the location of ASM SP file? This is the location. This is the name of the ASM SP file. This is telling. Okay, by using these two information, okay, by using GPNP profile, so CSSD daemon will access the ASM disk headers. Okay, instead of reading ASM disk group, what CSSD daemon is doing? CSSD daemon is reading ASM disk headers and accessing voting file and ASM SP file, then start up the ASM instance. If ASM instance comes up, automatically ASM disk group comes up. If ASM disk group comes up, automatically under the ASM disk group we have OCR file exist. If OCR file comes up, under OCR we have all the database related services. Those will come up. Okay, if those are comes up, automatically all services will come up. Okay, so this is what we have to understand. Okay, you have to read and learn multiple times. Okay, whatever I explained there, whatever the steps mentioned here, you have to listen and cross verify. Okay, so you have to write down multiple times, so be ready for the interview. Okay, there is a website for RAC theory. Okay, it's very clear. So you have to read everything in this website, Oracle in action. Okay, so this website is for all. Okay, 12C RAC, 11G R2 RAC, 12C data guard. Okay, so all real time issues and everything will be there. So, and also 11G data guard, performance tuning, everything will have. Okay, so click on 11G R2 RAC. Here, how to add a node. Okay, so clone Oracle home, convert non-RAC to RAC. Okay, GPNP profile demystified. So what happens if the GPNP profile is missed? Okay, we can copy from other node to this node. Okay, so GPNP profile, what happens if the GPNP profile is corrupted? That is what it is telling. Node eviction due to CSSD agent. Okay, node eviction due to member kill, node eviction due to missing heartbeat, node eviction due to this. Okay, OCR file is corrupted. What happened? What is the solution? OLR file is corrupted. What happened? What is the solution? Okay, everything will be there. Okay, so the main important. Okay, this is what the question people will focus. Okay, whatever I explained earlier, same thing will be here. So you have to read it carefully. Okay, the same which I explained. Okay, GPNP profile he is showing. This is the GPNP profile and everything. Can you rejoin the meeting?
Yes, sir.